All right, guys, welcome back to our Jacksonville Jaguars rebuilding series. Today is episode number 4. Hope you're all having a wonderful Monday. We finished the 2013 NFL campaign with a lackluster 3-13 record. Getting right into it here. I'm not doing live commentary right now. What I've done is I've spliced some of the some of our off-season footage. I recorded basically everything for you guys. I'm gonna do post commentary, so commentary after the fact as an overview. As you can see here, just finished offering Linval Joseph a contract that would pay him $7 million a season, 1.5 of which was guaranteed over 5 years, and he signed that deal. We only have one chance to re-sign all of our players, and we were able to re-sign him on the first shot. So Linval Joseph, who by my records is now the 4th best defensive tackle in the entire NFL, behind just 3 perennial All-Stars. Those 3 individuals being Geno Atkins of the Cincinnati Bengals, Adamakin Suh of the Detroit Lions, and Vince Wilfork of the New England Patriots. We lock up Joseph for $7 million. It's a lot of money, but I think easily worth it. Here we offer just over $2 million a season to Will Johnson, our fullback, who we got in free agency right before the 2013 season. He progressed from 70 overall to 87. He turned down that offer. So he turns down that offer that would have paid him good fullback money. Anything over $2 million is very good fullback money. He turned that one down. Here we're negotiating with Thaddeus Gibson. We're going to offer him $26.5 million over the next 5 years, locking him up for the best 5 years of his lifetime as a professional football player. Defensive ends really hitting their stride at age 26, trying to sign him through age 29. However, as you can see there, Gibson not interested in the deal. That would pay him $26 million over 5 seasons, with though there was a small amount of guaranteed money, just $2.5 million. As you can see here, McFadden up on the board. He wants $3 million a season to stick around, and we did not offer him a contract. I want to keep commenting on what is on the screen. However, fortunately, I've held on the screen for a little while to get a chance to say this. I'm going to be doing live commentary again for the scouting section of this video. So I have this video in many portions. Those portions should be described in the description below. But right now I'm going to be able to do re-signing and free agency commentary after the fact. When we go to the NFL draft, I have live commentary. So I'll go back to the previous audio I recorded while actually carrying out that draft. And then after the draft, I'll finish the rest of the video with extra signings, trades, and such, and all that stuff. All those guys who come available in the preseason, etc. And I'll have commentary that's done after the fact. So we have post-commentary, live commentary, and then post-commentary again for all that good stuff. Here we just made a contract offer to Alvin Bailey. Alvin Bailey being one of our 2 left guards. Will Rackley still under contract with us. Bailey wanted pretty big money for a guy who, granted, is just 23. 23 is pretty young to be as good as he is at the left guard position, but a guy who lacks a little bit of strength, really isn't any better than Will Rackley, who's still under contract for the 2014 season. So Bailey turns down $18 million over 5 years. Not a huge shock considering I offered him virtually no guaranteed money. But we've talked in the past about looking to draft somebody in that spot anyways, at the left guard spot. So not a huge loss. So far we got Joseph under contract. Gibson, Johnson, and Bailey, however, all say no. Joseph was the big fish, obviously. 95 overall, 25-year-old defensive tackle. Also, one thing I'm particularly proud about with that contract is the fact that Joseph, again, for those of you who are not familiar with the concept of franchise tagging, meanwhile, on screen, Jason Slowey signs a contract that'll pay him just under $2 million a year for the next 4 seasons. Solid contract, in my opinion, for a center who's still just 25 years old. With that being said, getting back to the general conversation, by the way, Cameron Bradfield, we'll remember that name for the end of the video. Cameron Bradfield wants big money. We do not offer him a contract to play backup to Luke Jokel. So as I was saying, I prefer to keep my own players in the system. That's kind of always been my feelings about things. It's always better to hold on and develop your own as opposed to going to free agency where, generally speaking, you overpay. But with that being the case, I don't like to hand out a lot of guaranteed money. In the case of Linval Joseph, however, who got $7.5 million guaranteed over 5 seasons, franchise tagging, what that means is it means that you are paying the player. They have to take the contract for 1 year, but you are paying them the average of the top 5 salaries for that position, which means that if you are a quarterback and you got franchise tagged, you get your salary will be the average of the top 5 quarterback salaries in the NFL, which is a lot of money. Linval Joseph, in his case, the top 5 defensive tackles average out to a solid amount of money. By the way, Chris Greenwood, developmental corner, 25 years old, 79 overall, physical freak, signs for $5.1 million over 3 years. Not a lot of money guaranteed, and a decent amount of salary, but it's only for 3 years, and I think he's going to be a wonderful nickel corner. Could even play the wide side as well in a couple years. He just needs to learn the ins and outs of the game here. Marcus White is going to turn down a deal that was worth just over $1 million a season over 2 years to stay in Jacksonville and play backup at the right end spot to Andre Branch. But remember his name for the end of the video as well. But getting back to the franchise tag thing, Linval Joseph, it would have cost us $9 million to franchise tag him. We got him under contract for $7 million. And considering that he is now one of the best best 5 defensive tackles in the NFL, very pleased to get him for $7 million a season and to lock him up for the best years of his career and to have him here for the duration of this series. Again, the goal of this series is to win a Super Bowl in 5 years. We have one off the books. My goal from the beginning of the season was to make the playoffs in year 3, or by year 3, I should say, and then win the Super Bowl by year 5. The year 3 thing just being a rough, benchmark for me. Here, by the way, on screen, Derek Carrier, developmental tight end, 77 overall, 24 years of age, agrees to a $4.4 million deal over the next 3 years. Again, very little guaranteed money. Carrier and Greenwood, both developmental guys who get paid a little higher in the salary department than maybe they should have. But again, guys who I think could be impact players. So by the ends of their deals, they could be huge steals. Speaking of which, William Campbell, backup right guard. He plays second fiddle to Brandon Mosley at that spot, who has that starting position locked up. Campbell here is going to agree to a contract that pays him $6.4 million over 4 seasons. Now, as a backup, you never want to pay a guy more than $1.5 million a season. And with Campbell, we did just that. The reason is Jason Slowey at the center spot, who is the starter there, 81 overall, 25 years of age. Campbell is younger, 23 years of age, 77 overall. He's got the makings, I think, of a potentially starting center. So my thought is if Jason Slowey's progression slows down, we could easily change William Campbell to being a center. With that being the case, him making $1.5 million as, let's say, an 85 overall center would be a huge steal for us. Campbell's got the physical ability to do just that, and so we paid the man. To me, it's always worth it to pay your backups. And we have buttloads of cap space, as you can see. There we just locked up Marcel Jones, backup left tackle, for a deal that pays him $700,000 a year for the next 2 years. Only $40,000 of guaranteed money, very little. And as you can see, going down the list here, we have Gaither, Kafka, Price, Angerer, Todman, Watson, Reisner, Hogue, and Studdard. Studdard and Gaither were brought in midseason last year just for injury's sake. And all those other guys were backups at their various spot. Reisner at the tight end spot was a perennial or a player who was with the original Jacksonville Jaguars. He was let go. Or none of those guys were offered new contracts, I should say. Now we go over to free agency. And with Will Johnson looking to move on, we decided to target one of free agency's bigger fishes. Now, I don't think you can ever call a fullback a big fish, but Marcel Reese, formerly of the Oakland Raiders, the most athletic fullback in the game, wants $11 million over 4 seasons. So we offered him 12, just $2 million guaranteed. So if we wanted to move on from him after the first 2 years of that contract, it wouldn't cost us much money. And again, as I said, typically I prefer to keep guys in the system. That's why we re-signed Joseph, Slowey, Greenwood, Carrier, Campbell, and Jones. And we did make free agent offers to some of our guys who turned down our contracts, wanted to go to free agency, gauge their value. So with that being said, the way I look at free agency basically is this. I think not ever making a free agent signing is a big mistake, because free agency is a way to supplement the talent you have on your team, particularly when you're in our situation and you have, as a franchise, you have a lot of money to play with going into this offseason, even after re-signing Joseph to a very large contract and re-upping some backups for decent money. We still had more than $50 million to play with, and that's even with a cap penalty from some of the moves we made last year, getting rid of players who had guaranteed money in their deals, who we traded or cut, just bad deals that the original Jacksonville Jaguars had made. So with that being said, I think that, and here you can see I'm just looking through the listings of all the players. You can read that. Solid center, De La Puente available. Devin Hester, return man. A return man is something we needed. I was not prepared, however, to pay Devin Hester the money that he wanted. So with that being said, I think that the best thing to do with free agency is again, just target those one or two places on your team where you really need a guy, where you need somebody who can plug and play, who you're not going to be able to develop, or even if you are able to develop somebody at that spot, there's no need to start a rookie who has no business starting when you can find somebody to play in that spot for 1, maybe 2 years while that rookie develops. And so for your own purposes, now you can tell me I'm wrong in the comments. Feel free to do so. But my style of doing things, I guess I would say, would be to look at free agency as, again, just a way to supplement what you already have. And also, when you sign these free agent contracts, to me, the worst thing somebody can do is to commit to somebody for a huge extended period of time. Football players in this game and in real life see big up and downs in their level of play. Particularly, some guys age really well. Some guys continue to get better into their 30s. Some guys are completely done by the time they hit age 29. So in general, if it's a player you're not familiar with, if it's a player who you're not sure you really need but would look flashy as a signing, don't offer them the 6 years that they want. Offer them 2 years or 3 years. Even if you're going to pay more per year, it's safer as a team to say, we're going to guarantee a lot of money and we're going to pay you a lot of money, but we're going to do it for 2 years. Instead of saying, let's throw the book at him, but we're going to get him for 6 or 7. It's just not worth it. Here, where we're negotiating with Thaddeus Gibson, we offered him $26.5 million over 5 years to stay with our team in free agency. We up our offer by $1 million total, but we do double the guaranteed money. The original deal only included $2.5 million guaranteed. This one, on the other hand, includes $5 million of guaranteed money. Just one a year, not bad. Again, it would make it pretty easy for us to move on at the end of that contract. But we needed a left end to come in. There weren't a lot of guys available in free agency, and so we're hoping that Gibson's able to come back here with that offer being on the table. Not hugely better than the one he was originally offered, just a little bit more guaranteed money really being the only difference. So with that being said, we're checking out the rest of the free agent class. I got to say, there wasn't a huge amount of talent in the free agent class. There was some excellent receivers, though I would say of any position on our entire squad, receivers probably the one where we're best set out. There are... And when I pass the commentary over to past Tuxedo T-Shirt, he'll tell you about some of the players we're targeting. We did end up targeting 1 or 2 wide receivers, but with that being said, we got excellent play out of Blackman and Shorts, who are both still young. Massacoy in the slot. We're deep at that spot. With that being said, you'll see the offer I send here to Golden Tate. Golden Tate, possession receiver. He's looking for north of $5 million a season. So I lowball him like crazy here. I'm hoping with this contract that he will jump at the guaranteed money, giving him, just paying him $6 million over 2 years. That's not nearly what he wants, but sending that his way because A, he has no other offers, and B, It's a lot of guaranteed money over a short amount of time, so it's low risk for us, and we'd be getting a great player for far less than market value if you were to sign. Spoiler alert: he does not sign with us, despite the fact that he is available even at the very end of free agency. Somebody came and beat our offer, which is not a problem because we don't need Golden Tate. We want to continue developing Blackman and Shorts as two guys who are still in their early, or in the case of Shorts, mid-20s, to be our star receivers, both of whom had 1,000 yards last year. So we keep moving on here with the free agency shtick. Again, not a lot of guys available. We checked out every position where we needed somebody. Really the only big fish that we were willing to target with an actual offer, not counting the Golden Tate contract as a substantial offer, was this man right here, Wesley Woodyard, right outside linebacker, 28 years of age, and sitting at a very pretty 91 overall. He's a guy who could come in, and my thinking with this deal here was Xavier Gooden was a beast for us last year, right outside linebacker. Darrell Washington played better than any middle linebacker in the entire game last year. However, Julian Stanford at the left outside linebacker spot struggled just a little bit. And so my thinking was you bring in Woodyard, you flip him from right outside linebacker to left outside linebacker, where he's not going to experience much of a fall-off, if any, and you make it work. Now, with Woodyard being 28 years of age, some of his best years probably behind him, despite the fact that he's got great physicals, 85 speed, 80-plus acceleration, as you can see on the screen, 88 acceleration to be exact, great strength, and a lot of awareness, good tackling ability. We decided to tone down the offer just a little bit. Instead of offering him that big 5-year deal he wanted, we ended up offering him a contract that was just 3 years in length, and $4.5 million guaranteed out of 16.5, but still not a huge offer. And again, that 3 years kind of covering our own butts in case Woodyard comes in and by the age of 30, he's really slowing down. He's starting to fall off big time. We can cut him or trade him, and we'd have to eat $1.5 million. But when the cap for those years is going to be north of $130 million, eating 1.5 is not going to make or break a season. And if anything else, with Stanford behind Woodyard on the depth chart still being just 23 years of age, even if Woodyard just comes in for a year or two and is able to light up that spot, Stanford can come out after that's done and maybe be the guy. Stanford's going to be up for a contract this year. Also, that's something I should mention. So we advance week here, seeing if Woodyard, seeing if Reese, seeing if Gibson take any of our deals. One of the issues with this year is going to be trying to lock up, and this will be dealt with at the start of episode number 5. So a week from today, because we can't negotiate with players who have just 1 year left on their contracts until free agent or until the regular season begins. So here you can see my negotiations. Reese, Woodyard, and Tate are on there, and Gibson, boom, Gibson signs. So Thaddeus Gibson, 86 overall, 26 years of age, back with the Jaguars. We do give him a big contract, but it's not a huge contract. For a rush end of his talents and capabilities, I think just north of $5 million a season is acceptable. Again, his deal has just $5 million of guaranteed money in it. Not a very high percentage given what he's making, and it means that, again, if we wanted to move on from him after 3 seasons, it would cost us just $2 million. Not nearly the guaranteed money you find in some of these contracts. So that being said, we'll keep advancing here, keeping an eye, and also running backs is going to be an issue that people are asking about because, of course, we let Darren McFadden walk, and we let Jordan Todman walk, meaning that Denard Robinson's the only halfback on the depth chart. The reality is, and I talk about this in my scouting commentary, the reality is good running backs come up every single preseason. Guys get cut. Last season, Frank Gore was cut in this game by the 49ers. I'm not concerned about finding someone. We'll get somebody somewhere along the way. Denard Robinson, I think, should have a decent-sized role in the offense going into next year. However, I'm not comfortable with him being the number one back, at least not yet. His yards per carry was atrocious last year. Granted, this year he'll be working behind a much better offensive line. So here we go. We advance again. My negotiations still got 3 guys on the list, but you can see the other teams are getting pared down. So Reese, Woodyard, and Tate still considering our offers. Tate would have been likely favoring the New England Patriots offer. And as you can see here, we're looking to see what happened with Will Johnson, and sure enough, he signed in Dallas. A quick note about some other former Jaguars who signed in other places. That is players who were Jaguars for the 2013 season who signed elsewhere. That was Will Johnson, fullback, signing with the Dallas Cowboys for $7.6 million over 4 years. So he actually refuses to take our deal and then decides to sign for more money elsewhere. As you can see here, and so free agency just ended. Sorry, I just checked up on my screen. Wesley Woodyard and Marcel Reese sign in Jacksonville. Woodyard, 16.5 over 3 years, so he's getting paid pretty handsomely, north of $5 million. But again, not a lot of guaranteed money, not a huge amount of term, which is the way that I look at free agency as being the best way to put it. And then our other signing, Marcel Reese, who gets signed for actually very good tight end money. It's $3 million a year. Granted, only $500,000 a year is guaranteed. But he is the best fullback in the league. And for a team who struggled to run the ball last year, I feel like making an adjustment at fullback is one of the best things you can do. So Will Johnson leaves for less money. I guess he outpriced himself in free agency. Didn't get the offers he wanted. But we're laughing. We paid just slightly more money than we were willing to pay Johnson. And we land the best fullback in the league. And as I was saying, the other guys who landed in other places, Darren McFadden signed in Pittsburgh. He was asking us for more than $3 million, or just under $3 million a season. He signed for $10.2 million over 4 years. Dakota Watson, left outside linebacker, backup from last year, signed with the Buccaneers for just under $1 million a year over 2 seasons. And Alvin Bailey, who turned down an $18 million offer from us, signed in Buffalo for $19 million over 5 years. So that's it. Let's turn it over now to our past Tuxedo T-Shirt commentary for some scouting. Thank you very much, future Tuxedo T-Shirt. We are about to get underway with the NFL draft. Before we actually draft anybody, we have some moves to make. I quickly will pause this bad boy here. By the way, in case you guys ever end up doing a draft in Madden, the best thing to do is immediately pause and just let her go like that. Let's quickly take a look at our draft board if we can. I think it wants me to make a pick first, or let's go ahead. Let's go select player, because this will allow us to check out all the guys we've scouted. Our first pick, this is all on the PDF. If you don't want to check out those spoilers, though, you could just listen and I'll fill you in. We have the first pick in the draft. We will be going with this gentleman right here, Terrell Jefferson out of Auburn, rookie corner, absolutely dominant. He's a guy we checked out in the first half of the season, so you guys saw a little bit about Jefferson in episode number 2 of this series. He's 22 years old. He's got an A for basically every physical you can have, including an A for strength, which is ridiculous for a guy who's only 6 feet 194. He has a scene awareness, which isn't great, but aside from that, he is an absolute cover demon. The dude can straight up cover. He's got, I believe, an A and a B in his coverage, which is just ridiculous. We have our second pick is at the position number 26, and that pick is the one we acquired from the Oakland Raiders. Currently, we are slated to draft this young man in that spot, Keithan Cross. He's the top left guard expected to go in this draft, and he's actually, believe it or not, the only player in this entire draft who has an A for strength on the offensive line, I should say. So the only offensive lineman. I scoured every other position possible along the offensive line, thinking maybe we can draft a left tackle, move him to guard. Nope. Nothing doing. And because we lost Alvin Bailey in free agency, we need to draft this young man. However, he's slated to go 28th overall, which to me means that we need to trade up to make sure we get him, just being 2 spots above, considering he's the top player in at his position and in a draft that is really thin for offensive linemen. As you can see, there's only 6 left guards that are expected to be drafted today, and none of the other ones are very good. I really want to move up at least 10 spots to select Cross. Hopefully we will be able to do that. Our third pick is the first pick of the second round, and that is where we're going to be going quarterback. Right now, Juan Delian is slated to go 24th in the second round. This is hopefully where we will be picking him. If we lose out on Delian, he is the only player in this draft to have short accuracy rating of A. His throw power is also an A. His accuracy across the board, very good. He's also got some speed to him. He's got some nice acceleration as well, so he can run. If he does not pan out, we are going to be going with this young man, 20-year-old Jonathan Washington out of East Stroudsburg. Don't ask me where that is, but we will be going with our next pick, which is the first pick of the third round, to grab him. Hopefully, though, we don't have to. Now, Washington would be a great guy. He's a little bigger, 6'4", 240. He's got the throwing power, but his accuracy a little worse, one letter grade worse in every category. Also doesn't have the same speed threat to run. So hopefully we'll be able to grab Delian in that spot. If we're able to grab Delian in that spot, first of all, if we're not, we'll trade down, hopefully. But if we are, we're going to be drafting this young man, Drick Haskell, 6'4", 204. He has been a stellar player looking across the board. His route running, very good for a rookie. Catching in traffic is phenomenal. Catching is just a C, but we can work that up. When you're 6'4", if you can catch across the middle, that's already bada bing, bada boom, good. His release is a B, which is important, working against a lot of linebackers and such, nickel backs. His speed is just a B, but his acceleration is an A, so he can get open. I'm hoping he can be kind of a Keenan Allen type receiver for us in the slot, maybe playing some fourth receiver this year behind Mohamed Massaquoi. From there, we really don't have a lot of guys to look at. I've spent a ton of time, as you can see. Running back is right now the biggest hole on our team. We have just one running back under contract at the moment. Now, I'm not super concerned, as I think I said earlier in this video. There are always running backs available right before the season. You know, Frank Gore was a free agent this past season. We just didn't pick him up because we had Darren McFadden. But Denard Robinson's currently our only running back. Whether or not he's the lead guy, I want to find some other guys. Really, there aren't any dominant. I mean, I kind of oppose the idea of drafting a running back high anyways. I'm sure you've heard me talk about that on this channel. If not, I'll just go with the famous quote from an NFL scout that went, "If you miss out on a great running back, it's like a city bus. You just have to wait 5 minutes and another one's going to come around." Because the bottom line is, if you can stick somebody behind a great offensive line, you're good to go. And that's what we're going to do this year. Markeith Hickman is one of the last running backs slated to go in this draft. He's slated to go at the last pick of the 6th round. We're hoping to pick him up we're looking to draft him in the 4th round, just because we have 3 4th rounders, and quite frankly, I don't know what to do with a couple of them. We're going to be trading at least one of them away, hopefully to help us move up in the 1st round, maybe 2 extra ones, but we have some extra picks. The reason I'm going 4th round is because he's very good. His elusiveness, his awareness, ball carry vision, not great, but I think he's just an athletic freak. He's got an A in speed, agility, and acceleration. The only player to have all 3 of those categories in this draft. He's also just 20 years old, 6 feet, 204. I like his size. So we will be picking him up, and that's pretty much a guaranteed thing because we're looking to draft him like 2 whole rounds before he's slated to go. The only other guy we have for today that I'd really like to draft is this young man, Jeffrey Uhr, slated to go mid-6th round right now. He lacks some physical abilities, but his speed is a B. His strength isn't great. His acceleration isn't great. But I'm hoping he can be our second middle linebacker. I would likely look to free agency to pick up a guy to back up Darrell Washington in the meantime, but Ur could be a good special teams player for us, particularly if his speed ends up being good for a B rating. If it's 88, we're laughing. If it's 81, maybe not so much. But aside from that, that's what we're looking at going with today. Right now, I have 3 picks on my list that are open. Both of our 6-rounders, just because we scouted so many guys this year with all the holes in our team. You can see all the points we spent. Samuel Billy, by the way, some people will be asking, why aren't you drafting Samuel Billy? The reality is Billy, I think, is going to be your standard run-and-gun quarterback. Joe Flacco, Ben Roethlisberger-esque. He's got an A in throwing power. He's probably got a cannon, because otherwise he wouldn't be up here so high, but his accuracy is not good. He does not play our style of game. And his awareness, if his awareness was an A on top of everything, I would have seriously considered drafting him. As it stands, though, not the case. So let's go ahead. Let's make our first pick. And then we are going to go ahead and look to make some trades, because right now, as it stands, Keith and Cross likely not going to be available at the time of our next pick. So that's everything. And by the way, if you guys want more information for the scouting, I apologize. There's only so much I can do to show you guys, because we're checking out so many players. I literally scouted something. And here we go. Jacksonville Jaguars, first overall pick, Terrell Jefferson, first overall pick of the 2014 NFL draft. Bada bing, bada boom. Future franchise corner for us. Actually, I shouldn't even use the word future. It is right now. Right now is the time of Terrell Jefferson. He's probably going to be our starting corner, top dog from the very beginning of the season on. Meanwhile, let's go to the trading block, because this is an important moment for us. As it stands, why did it pull us back here? I don't know. I did not do that. As it stands right now, again, we have the 26th pick. Meanwhile, Keith and Cross is slated to go 28th overall. So what I would like to do is I would like to find the team with I'm thinking if we want to be really sure we're going to get this guy, we got to get between 14th and 16th. So let's go ahead. Let's find one of those teams in that zone. Let's start off at about the 14th mark. Bucks have 15th. We'll remember that. Keep that in the back of our minds. We have one of the Bucks picks, so maybe they'll want it back in the 4th round. Eagles have the 4th. That's too high. Falcons 13th. Let's see. What do the Falcons need? Falcons have the 13th pick. Normally I wouldn't be this paranoid to go this high. Keith and Cross could even go higher than 13th, but I just feel like because this draft is what it is, it's so devoid of interior offensive linemen. He's gonna go pretty high. Let's see here. We can afford to cough up the 97th pick, and we can afford to cough up this pick, 169, the Cleveland Browns pick. So this would allow us to move up 13 spots, and it would cost us a 4th rounder and a 7th rounder. Trade offer accepted. Boom. Easy money. No way that actually happens in the real NFL, by the way. Don't think there's any chance that actually happens in the NFL. That would, to move up 13 spots like that would cost you, oh man, I think that would cost you that 1st rounder and at least a 3rd rounder, probably a 2nd. If you were throwing in a 3rd, it'd have to be like a 3rd and a 3rd and a 4th at least. Here we go. So let's check it out. 13th pick. No, not at all. Advanced draft. I thought I had user pick. I apologize. Next pick. So here we go. Keith and Cross. Let's hope his name does not come up in the first 12 picks of the draft. And it appears as though it did not. Beautiful. Samuel Bealey goes, so you can see here the 2 left tackles slated to go highly in the draft. One goes 2nd overall. Bealey goes to the Cardinals at 5th overall. They're probably happy he fell back that far. He was not expected to. Price Schuler, the 2nd player, or 2nd quarterback to go. He goes 12th overall. Let's go make our pick, boys and girls. Again, Keith and Cross, mind you, I'm perfectly happy with what we traded to get this pick. Normally, you would never see a guard go this highly in the draft unless they were some type of absolutely spectacular, can't miss prospect that for whatever reason wasn't able to play on the tackle spot. But my goodness, I am so happy to get him in the first round. You could say that I maybe overpaid a little bit with the picks, went too high, but the reality is with the amount of needs we had, let's count here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 picks. We started off with 7. We acquired 3 more through trades and such, and the reality is we coughed up 2, so we still have 8. And the best thing is with trading away 2 of these picks, we were able to acquire who I think is going to be a dominant guard. Keithan Cross, I think, will be a dominant guard, and that's that. Let's move on here. This is a bit of a risk too. First pick of the second round coming up. We are hoping to acquire quarterback Juan Dalian. A quarterback here, Hayden Gallen, went with the last pick of the first round, and looking back here, I believe Juan Dalian will be available. Yes, he is. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. Juan Dalian, quarterback, will be our selection here. Juan Dalian, 6'3". I forget what school he's out of. It'll show us that in a moment. We are picking him 24 spots ahead of where he's slated to go. He's out of Mississippi State, 6'3", 221. However, he is the perfect West Coast quarterback for what we're doing. And the best thing is, instead of going after the big fish of the draft in Samuel Bealey, that the top quarterback that always gets so much praise. It's the player you always hear most about, whether it's Cam Newton or whether it's Andrew Luck or whether it's even the 2013 NFL draft that was really, really awful in terms of quarterbacks. EJ Manuel still got a huge buzz. And this upcoming year, you got Bortles and you got Manziel and you got Bridgewater. I mean, my goodness, all you hear about with the actual real-life 2014 draft is about the quarterbacks, about the quarterbacks, about the quarterbacks. So we avoid that. We pick up 2 great players, one who's going to anchor our defensive backs for the next lifetime, another who's going to help anchor the center of the middle of our interior of our offensive line. And boom, let's get ready to make the pick. So picking up Juan Dalian with that selection means that with the first pick of the third round, we can experiment a little bit. There are a couple of guys on the list who we could go with. Jonathan Washington still available. Not surprising. We are a full round ahead of where he is anticipated to be picked. At this point, I would look at maybe trading down even. But at the same time, Drick Haskell, I like his game a lot. I think he could be a great player for us. This might be a bit ahead because he is slated to go 21st in the 4th round, and we are just the first pick of the 3rd round. However, to me, he is the can't-miss prospect of all of these guys. If you take a look one above, Jamarcus Seymour, even bigger out of Air Force. However, his issue is a lack of acceleration to go along with his lack of speed, his release not as strong. I think that Drick Haskell is going to be more a complete package, and for that reason, he's a Jacksonville Jaguar. Drick Haskell selected. So we now have a depth interior receiver slot who's going to come in and light it up, I think, in future years. 3 straight offensive picks helping out our offense with the free agent acquisition of Woodyard. I don't feel as though we need to up a whole lot of guys. We're also bringing in Thaddeus Gibson again. Didn't feel like we needed to do a whole bunch in the way of rookies on defense. And so check it out. This is great. We got Drick Haskell. Our next pick is the first pick of the 4th round. To me, if Jonathan Washington is still available, we draft him. Reason being, this is the 15th pick of the 4th round. let's go take a look who's there. If Jonathan Washington is still available, I would draft him here happily, because you can never. First of all, you can just never have too many quarterbacks. Second of all, quarterbacks have a lot of trade value, and Washington is gone. So Washington off the board now. So at this point, I think we go. We're middle of the fourth round. 111th pick of the draft. This was originally Tampa Bay's selection. Let's go back here. We should also pause the draft. We've been blitzing through it really quickly so far. So we can pause it there so we have a little more time to think. We really don't need anybody with this selection that I've seen. We can, if you want, we could take a real risk, roll the dice. I think that's the best thing. We still have one more selection in the fourth round, in which I'm hoping to land Markeith Hickman. So let's take a bit of a stab at somebody here. There's a few guys who are still available, who were slated to go forever ago. Timonte Furman. Let's see. Furman lacks some speed. Yeah, I'm not crazy about his game as a running back. Not that he might be very good for somebody else. Just not crazy about his game. You know what? Let's go ahead. Let's take the top available player. Torrey Meyer, 6'3", 235, Arizona, 22-year-old right outside linebacker. We may as well bring him in, even if he's just a good special teamer. A fourth-round pick being a solid special teamer is no problem whatsoever. And so with that, the 15th pick of the fourth round is Torrey Meyer. We have one more pick in the fourth round. That will be Markeith Hickman. Beauty. Markeith Hickman, I presume still available. He's another guy we're taking quite ahead of where he was slated to go. Mind you, with that being said, later in the draft, you see a lot of these types of moves where guys are really grabbing. And so here we go. Markeith Hickman, slated to go with the last pick of the sixth round, goes late fourth round, moving up 2 rounds of the projected draft. Also, I should say this. I've done quite a few drafts now on Madden 25. It's very rare that the players who are slated to go in the middle of the draft are actually better than everybody else at the bottom of the draft. And we'll advance to the next user pick. This will jump us ahead to the last pick of the fourth round. Forgot I had this one. And with this one, you know what? I think we trade this one. And here's why. If we're able to move this pick, because I like Jeffrey Uhr at the middle linebacker spot. However, if we can trade away our 6th and our 4th, like our 2 remaining selections for this draft, and we can even get a 4th and a 5th for a future year from somebody, then that means, a 5th for this year and a 5th for next year. Or 4th for next year. Let's see if that's possible. Maybe somebody wants to move up like that. Bears are interested. They just need a little more value. Let's try somebody else. Bengals picks are high because they finish right behind us. Their 5th rounder, their 4th rounder for next year. Let's see if this is worth it to them. Maybe they have somebody they really need an extra pick for. They're interested, but they need a little more value. Okay, let's see what we can do here. We give them our 7th for next year. This would mean that we give up 2 picks we don't need. There we go. So we get rid of our this extra 4th pick that we don't need for this year, our 6th pick for this year that we don't need, and a 7th rounder for next year to get the 5th rounder we do need to draft Mr. Uhr at the middle linebacker spot, and a 4th round pick next year. And if the Bengals have another rough season, that would mean that could be as high as even a top 100 pick still. That could be very significant. So there we go. We make that quick trade, and that allows us to make this selection here. Hopefully Jeffrey Uhr is still available. I do expect him to be available still, and hopefully his speed is what we hoped it was. There we go. Jeffrey Uhr in the bag. His tackling needs work. It's just a C right now, but that's just fine with me. We can get that up. We can work on it. And maybe he can prove to be the backup we need. If not, we can easily find someone in free agency while he advances. And now at this point, let's go advance to the next user pick in case there's some type of pick that I'm completely forgetting about. I don't expect that to be the case. So that pick, drafting in the 5th round, means that we made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 selections today. We come in today with 10 picks. We actually make 6 of them, trading away everything after the first pick of the 5th round. But to me, I think we got great talent. I think we got great talent out of this draft. I got exactly out of this draft what I was hoping for. And here we go. Take a look at the rookie signings. See what these guys are like. With the first pick of the draft, here comes Terrell Jefferson. A 4-year deal worth a combined $23 million. And his overall is 83 to start off. Let's take a look at the rest of his stats, shall we? He's got 90 acceleration. That's a little bit disappointing. Agility of just 78. That's also disappointing. But with that being said, awareness of 76 to start off as a rookie is pretty good. Injury of 84 is just fine. Jumping of 91, pretty good. Man coverage to start things off, 82. Pretty stellar right there. And then as we keep going down the list, his speed is 95. Fast enough to keep up with just about anybody in this league. Stamina of 87. Strength of 90. Strength of 90 is off the charts. Keithan Cross's strength as an offensive lineman is 93. Terrell Jefferson was stronger than every other offensive lineman in the draft. And his tackling is 79. That's almost unheard of for a corner, much less a rookie corner. So we essentially have a linebacker in a corner's body who I think is going to be elite in just about no time. Again, with an overall of 83, could very well be our top starter this year. Keithan Cross, meanwhile, ready to start. 81 overall. His awareness of 75, pretty good to start off as a rookie offensive lineman. It always drives me crazy, by the way, that this is in alphabetical order. Impact blocking at 82, pretty good for an interior guy. Injury 92, very nice. Let's take a look. His pass blocking 76, a little disappointing, but we can work on that, no problem. His run blocking, there we go. The more important of the two for a left guard, certainly. 86 run blocking, very nice. The dude's even got some speed, 67, pretty good for an interior offensive lineman. Stamina of 80, strength, again, we've talked about that. That's nice. His tackling is also bizarrely high for an offensive lineman. I'll take that all day long. And there we have it. Next one, Juan Delian, quarterback out of Mississippi State, 23 years old. Is he going to be our starter this year? Well, only one way to find out. He's 79 overall as of right now. Acceleration of 89, awareness of 66. That'll take some work, but that's okay. That always does with quarterbacks. His injury rating is 85. Not awful. Not great, though. That's okay. Here we have his... let's go to his throwing stats really quick. His speed is 78, by the way. Not bad. His stamina of 85. Strength 68. And here we go. We got his short accuracy is 88. Pretty happy with that. Throwing accuracy rating overall is 80. Medium throw is 82. Deep accuracy 68. So that needs a lot of work, but the rest of the accuracy pretty good. Throwing on the run's pretty bad, but his throw power rating is 90, which is decent. It's better than anyone else we have on the on our chart or on our roster right now. So not bad. Not as great as I'd hoped with that A and throw power. I was hoping for something a little more than 90, but that's not bad. Check out this cat, though. Drick Haskell. I don't know if you saw this earlier. Drick Haskell, 6'4". He is currently an 80 overall. Coming into the season at an 80 overall. That's ridiculous. Acceleration of 97. Beauty. He really struggles with his agility and his awareness, but my goodness, catching in traffic of 86 is phenomenal. Catching 74 needs work, but that's okay. We're more than happy to give that to him. His injury rating is 95, which is very nice. His jumping is just 80, which is pretty poor for a wide receiver. But being 6'4" is really going to help him with that. Meanwhile, his release is 77. Route running at 86 is stellar for a guy as young as he is. Speed rating of just 84, but that's okay. There are receivers in this league who are that same speed, who are very effective. Strength is just 65. That's okay. We can work on that. All in all, I'm pretty happy with those 4 picks. Would have liked to see some more throwing accuracy from Mr. Delian. But aside from that, really, and Haskell, maybe get 86, 87 speed, more than an 80 or 84 rather, but not bad. Here we go with the rest of our 3 picks. Torrey Meyer, 67 overall. Markeith Hickman, just 64 overall. Jeffrey Uhr, 55 overall. So icky numbers across the board, but let's see what we got. We got Markeith Hickman, 88 acceleration. That's not very good. I didn't think that was enough for an A in the halfback category. 88 agility, not great either. Jeffrey Uhr, his acceleration and agility, not really usable. Torrey Meyer, 76, 77 in those regards. It is what it is. Hickman, 75 carrying ability. We'll have to work on that. His hands are great, though. 75 catching for a running back is phenomenal as a rookie. Hit power for Torrey Meyer's excellent at 85. Just 64 for Uhr. Injury rating for all 3 above 80, which is what we're always hoping for. Juke move for Hickman, 71. Then we have, let's keep going down the list here. Man coverage for Uhr is very good at 77. It's just the issue is he's not fast enough to actually cover anybody. Going down the list, pursuit, pretty icky for both of our linebackers. Keep going down the list. 90 speed for Hickman. That's disappointing. Really disappointing to me. His stamina just 75, and that's too bad. I really thought 75 strength for a guy his size is pretty good, but that's disappointing. Just 69 tackling for Torrey Meyer. Torrey Meyer's speed, by the way, 76. Jeffrey Uhr's 77. So these 3 picks, I mean, you're never going to find pure studs, particularly guys who are studs from day one in the bottom end of the draft, but that's disappointing. Markeith Hickman, 88 acceleration, 88 agility, 90 speed, despite having A's in all 3 of those categories, and he's a project player. That sucks. Torrey Meyer, usable on special teams. Not that we need him to be a starter. We're actually quite deep at the right outside linebacker spot. We got Woodyard, and then we have Stanford, the incumbent there. Right outside linebacker. We got Gooden there. Meyer will likely be our backup. But Stanford coming on the left side, who was the starter last year, will be the backup to Woodyard this year, will actually be the backup at the right outside linebacker spot. But okay, it's decent. Not as great of a rookie class as I'd been hoping for, but Jefferson I think is an A+. Cross I think is an A+. Dillion I think it's a B. Drick Haskell, I give him a B as well. Meyer, I'd give him a D. Hickman, a D. And Uhr, I'd give an F. But with that being said, when you have 2 of the top 13 picks and you get to turn that into cats that are as good as these 2, I'll take that each and every single time. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for joining me for the live draft that we were able to do. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It's only a 30-minute segment. Whew. I'm in advance to the preseason. And past Tuxedo T-Shirt is going to take over for the rest of the video. He's going to show you the rest of the things we did for preparation of the season. Take it away, future Tuxedo T-Shirt. All right, so we got the NFL draft completed. By the way, this is future Tuxedo T-Shirt again. Thank you to my earlier self for that wonderful, warm welcome. We are taking a look now at the free agents that have come up still from free agency. These are often guys who have outpriced themselves in free agency, still didn't find a deal before the draft. We signed Dexter McCluster here. McCluster comes in as a guy who's going to be our kick return specialist. Last year, Jock Sanders was a little bit, Ace Sanders was a little bit lackluster in that field. So Ace is going to stick merely to the slot position, and we're going to have McCluster, formerly the Kansas City Chiefs, come in to do that job for us. After that, check out who's here. Cameron Bradfield, backup right tackle for us a year ago. We developed him. He had big ideas for how much he was worth in the free agent market, and we scoop him up for $900,000 this year, a decent price to pay for a decent backup right tackle. and we end up getting the last laugh. We did offer Bradfield a low ball deal last year. He said he was too good for it this year. He's back. Bada bing, bada boom. And check out who's here for the backup right ends. Marcus White, another gentleman who we hoped to re-sign last year to serve as a backup at the right end spot for us underneath Andre Branch. He outpriced himself in the free agent market, and guess what? He's back. So we pick up two backups who were with us last year, both solid backups, 80 and 78 overall, respectively. And from there on, we took a look at the trade block to find ourselves a halfback, because at this point we had just two halfbacks under contract, Denard Robinson and Markeith Hickman. Robinson was a rookie last year, brought in as an original draft pick from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Here, we drafted Markeith Hickman in the draft, of course, later in the fourth round, as you just saw. But we needed a feature back, and preferably somebody who had a little bit of power behind them. And Michael LaShore, the halfback for the Detroit Lions, playing behind Reggie Bush, appeared on the trade block, and we decided to try and make a play for him, the best running back on the trade block. As you can see, the needs for the Lions were with the wide receiver category. We tried to flip him for Jordan Shipley, no go. Chris Culliver, probably the biggest name we had who was available, a guy we were looking to move. We tried to make that work. Did not happen for LaShore. So we take that off the board, and we take a look at what else we have. Now, the number one offer for the Lions, or number one area of need for the Lions, was center. Jason Slowey is a guy to whom we've committed, at least lukewarmly, with this the offseason deal he got. So we throw Mike Brewster up there as our backup center, and boom, it's accepted. A 76 overall backup center gets Michael LaShore for us. LaShore is making just $80,000 this year because his bonus is being taken up by the Detroit Lions. So we're paying him $80,000 this year. He's got great carrying ability, 95. His speed, agility in the mid-80s. However, he's very durable, 24 years of age, 82 overall. A guy who I think we have 1 year to kind of decide what we'd like to do with him. If he is successful at the halfway point of the season, he's got a good average, he's stayed healthy, he's not putting the ball on the ground, we can look at re-signing him. To me, if he continues to grow, maybe top out at 85 overall, he could easily be worth between 1.5 and 2.5 a year in terms of salary, but we'll have to figure that out as time goes on. Here you can see us on screen looking to bounce Chris Culliver. Chris Culliver was brought in last year, traded. We made a trade with the San Francisco 49ers. I believe, I don't have the PDF in front of me, I believe we traded him to San Francisco for a 4th and 6th rounder. A guy who could come in right away and play the top corner spot. Here we actually look to trade him back to San Francisco, but they don't want to take him back. So we continue looking for a trade partner. Chris Culliver made obsolete by the drafting of Terrell Jefferson with the first overall pick of the 2014 NFL Draft. Demetrius McCray, Dwayne Gratz, Chris Greenwood, all guys who have come along. Jeremy Harris as well as a depth guy. We did bring in another guy after this, but we'll get into that in a moment. Here we're just checking to see. This is the process I go through to find trading partners. Finally, we get through everybody. The only team that's really hard or pushing hard to find a corner is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we offer them Chris Culliver for their first-round pick. They turned down the same deal the last time. We're trying to get rid of Jeremy Mincy to unload him on somebody. We make that offer. No go. Jeremy Mincy not actually adding any value of any type to the deal. We go to the wide receiver spot. We try to lay off, try to get Jordan Shipley to sweeten the pot. They need significantly more value. So we take all that off. We're bouncing back between the Eagles, and this is, again, just an insight into the process I go through for you guys. I'm happy to go through it. It's a labor of love, and it takes a bit of time, that's all. So we offer the same deal to the Eagles, Culliver, and Shipley, trying to make that work. By the way, Shipley, productive receiver for us last year, but he is 28 years old at this point. He's buried on the depth chart behind Blackman and Shorts. Sanders is always a guy who's working towards getting more playing time. Massaquoi was solid for us in the slot last year, and Drick Haskell, with him coming in and looking pretty stellar, especially a slot guy who has that great catching in traffic ability. Not a ton of speed, but certainly solid hands in traffic and his great size. Just unlikely Shipley was going to be getting into the game at all. And so here we go back to Tampa Bay, and we look to sweeten the pot with something else other than Culliver and Shipley. We throw in a 6th rounder here, 2015 6th rounder. We offer that to the Bucks, and they want a bit more value, so we go back again. We throw in a 6th round pick for next year, hoping that will tip the scales. A bit more value is what they require. Eventually, we offer them a 5th round pick for this year, which is what I think you should be seeing on the screen, or pardon me, for next year, and they accept that contract. And so we acquire a 1st round pick from the San Francisco 49ers in exchange for a 5th rounder next year, Chris Culliver and Jordan Shipley. Hopefully Culliver and Shipley, who were productive players for us last year, are successful out west, while we can hopefully find a great player to use or to acquire through the use of that pick. Here we are on our next move, following the acquisition of that pick, unloading Chris Culliver. And also, we to gain Chris Culliver, we had to give away a 4th and a 6th, and we ended up trading him away a year later. We had to give up a 5th, so a 4th, a 5th, and a 6th total, but we get a 1st rounder. To me, that's worth it every day of the week. Here, I included this footage just to show you guys just how badly other teams were desperate not to acquire Jeremy Mincey. I believe we offered a handful of teams Mincey for mid-rounders. Nobody bit. Finally, we offered him to, I think it might have been even, I want to say the Texans. I could be wrong on that. You'll see in a moment. But even offering, a 7th rounder to certain asking for a 7th rounder from some teams, we get nothing. So Jeremy Mincey eventually cut. Other players who were cut, I'm just going to talk through this while you can see Mincey getting carted off right before we go through the final run-through of the entire roster, which we'll do just here in a moment. We were forced to cut Jeffrey Uhr. Jeffrey Uhr, of course, we acquired through the draft this past year. Uhr in the mid-5th round, middle linebacker. We just decided with his speed being what it is, he was not going to be a fit for us. So he was released. In addition to that, we were able to, we decided to cut Mike Harris. Mike Harris, one of the 2 Harrises, who was a depth guy at the corner position last year. With the acquisition of Jefferson, and him being a bona fide starter right away. Jefferson, McCray, Gratz, Greenwood all being there. Harris being a depth guy from last year. Jeremy Harris, that's the other Harris. And also with Mike Harris just being limited in terms of his speed, he was also released. And so this is the point where I would say we'll quickly update the injury report here, as you can see on the screen. Eugene Monroe missing the first game of the season. Luke Jokel missing the first 2 games of the season. Jesse Williams missing the first 2 games of the season. And Marcus White, though he's a backup, still sucks to be missing him. Sucks anytime you got guys injured. And the first couple weeks, we're going to have to do some hoping and praying, keep our fingers crossed, because we're going to have a lot of injuries to deal with. But that's okay. We'll work through them. Here's the point where I would recommend you guys get the PDF if you haven't yet. Pause the video because I'm going to run through these really quickly. Quarterback position, Juan Delian comes to us as the rookie. He comes to us at 77 overall. Aside from that, Gabbard and Scott. We're going to start the season off with Gabbard as a starter, but Scott and Delian could easily overtake him as the season goes on. Michael LaShore, who's brought in, again, great carrying ability, great trucking ability, 91 trucking, as you can see. Definitely a guy who could be a 1st and 2nd down back. Robinson likely getting in on 3rd downs, and then Hickman, who we picked up in the late 4th round with the 122nd pick, will be our developmental back there at the bottom of the depth chart. Fullback Marcel Reese comes to us this year through free agency. Marcel Reese, the $3 million man, highest paid fullback in the league, but the best one too. Justin Blackmon has taken over the top spot on the depth chart of the wide receiver spot. Drick Haskell, the 21-year-old rookie, will take over the slot position. Sanders and Massaquoi for depth. And Corey Fuller was a free agent pickup we just signed late, 24 years of age, 75 overall. He's got burning speed at 94. Just a developmental guy, though, second-year player out of Virginia Tech. Good size, good speed. You can't go wrong with that. Ace Sanders, again, sitting behind Drick Haskell. Hopefully we can get Sanders and Massaquoi into the game as well. But Haskell will be starting in that slot position. Tight ends, unchanged from last year. Thompson, Carrier, and Otten. Left tackles, unchanged from last year. Eugene Monroe, Marcel Jones. Jones will be starting the first game of the season because Monroe is hurt. Left guard, Keithan Cross comes to us as our second first-round pick this season. Left guard, I expect huge things from him. Backup Will Rackley comes back. Jason Slowey, still our starting center. J.D. Walton came to us as a free agent, 27 years of age, 77 overall. He'll back up Slowey. Right guard, Brandon Mosley. William Campbell, unchanged. Jokel and Bradfield, unchanged at the right tackle spot. Left ends, Thaddeus Gibson and Billy Wynn return. The only difference, no Jeremy Mincy this year. Right ends, Andre Branch, Marcus White back again, continuing to develop. Defensive tackles, unchanged as well. Joseph, Williams, Miller, Diederich, solid group of defensive tackles. Left outside linebacker, Wesley Woodyard comes to us in free agency, making $16.5 million over 3 years. Julian Stanford, the incumbent starter, comes back as a depth player. He'll continue to develop, hopefully be able to reclaim that spot. Middle linebackers, Darryl Washington and Perry Riley. Riley comes to us, 78 overall, 26 years of age. Through free agency, he's making $1.1 million this year, taking over for Pat Engerer at that spot. Right outside linebacker, Xavier Gooden and Torrey Meyer. Torrey Meyer came to us in the draft as a third-round pick. Fourth-round pick, I believe. I forgot to actually record that. Other than that, he comes to us in the draft, project player. Corners, McCray, Jefferson, Gratz. McCray will start the season at the top spot. Jefferson will start the season at the second spot, with Gratz being the nickel corner. Greenwood, Harris, and DeMarcus Van Dyke, a new signing, 6'1", 98 speed. The fourth-year NFL player comes to us as a developmental/depth guy, making little money, but I always like having a sixth corner to keep developing, and he was the reason that Mike Harris was released. Moving on, free safeties, Antoine Blake, Josh Evans, unchanged from last year. Blake progressing wonderfully for us last year, will continue to do so hopefully this year. Strong safeties, Jonathan Cyprin, rookie sensation, Jonathan Cyprin and Chris Brzezinski, unchanged. Kicker, Josh Scobie, punter, Brian Anger. And our picks, here are the picks we have for this year. 2 first-rounders, including Tampa Bay's, second, third, fourth, double fourth, one from Cincinnati, fifth, and sixth. So a very nice little stable of picks for us. Very exciting. Until next time, guys, I'm Tuxedo T-Shirt. Thank you so much for joining me. Jacksonville Jaguars about to get the 2014 NFL's campaign underway. I expect big things. I hope you guys do too. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you later for episode number 5. Until then, I'm Tuxedo T-Shirt, and I'm out.